everybody. Welcome to the Automation Village special DistribuTech edition. So we are coming to you from San Diego, California. We've got to do this pretty quick because I have to go pick our booth for next year.
That's right. And in this episode, we're going to talk to Stephanie Kolojek, who's the director of DistribuTech, and she's going to tell us about what's new this year, as well as some tips and tricks if you're going to exhibit or attend.
That's right. We're also going to speak with Jerry, who is part of the brainchild of Smartville,
which is kind of an exciting project that takes up the middle part of the exhibit hall, which is all about different kinds of emerging technologies for smart grids and smart cities.
We've got my favorite segment, Questions with Nat.
And Keith Donaldson, who's not here, over in Scotland, is going to do a short piece talking about two of our favorite subjects, which is, I know you love timestamp data.
I do.
And I'm a big fan of DMP3 protocol. So stick around for all that and enjoy DistribuTech. So joining us today is Stephanie Kolojek. She's the director of DistribuTech, so we went right to the top of the ladder. Thanks for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
So it's go time right now. How are you holding up?
It's go time. We're holding up really, really well. A lot of booths are almost complete, and we are excited to welcome all the attendees.
That's great.
Yes.
So if you could tell, obviously there's a lot of different kinds of power shows out there. What makes DistribuTech different?
Yeah, I mean, I think DistribuTech is a little bit special because it's one of the largest energy events in the country, so we're super proud of that. And then we're really highly focused on, distributed energy and connecting to the grid. I think as consumer demand for more renewable energy grows,
right,
we really want to make sure that there's different types of automation and digitalization that can help advance the industry, and we think that that's really what DistribuTech does so well.
Interesting. So you're talking about sort of a changing trend in the whole industry, and how at the show here, how can you sort of see those changes reflected, say, in the exhibit hall or in the presentations and seminars?
Yeah. So one of the things we're doing this year that's brand new, which I'm super excited about, is we have a huge smart city on the show floor.
Oh wow.
So we're really excited about all the types of different digitalization that can go into the smart cities, also that can make them more resilient.
Right.
And so on the show floor we have a huge, what we call like a community space. And so
wow.
Smart City Zone, also known as Smartdale, is awesome. I can't admit to coming up with that, but right, we're very excited about that, and we're really excited about the different vendors that are supporting the industry to really bring that to life, but also really help cities become more resilient, to sort of help their communities grow.
Right. You know who enjoys living in Smartville? Digital twins.
Digital twins do enjoy Smartville. You're right about that.
So is there any sort of industry leaders, some thought leaders here this year who are going to be speaking and presenting?
Yeah, well, we will, I don't want to give away too much, but we will have a special address during the keynote. Secretary Granholm will be doing a video address. She won't be here in person, but right, we're really excited to have her join us via video during the keynote. And then also our keynote session with Duncan Wardle, who's from Disney.
Oh, wow.
So we're very excited about having him talk
wow,
about innovation and leadership. And I think for me, it's really connecting the dots that, he's not from energy, but he can talk a lot about leadership and,
right,
and customers and engagement.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that.
Wow. So this is our VTScada, our second DistribuTech.
Okay.
So we're happy to be here. But what advice would you give to an exhibitor in the exhibit hall who is new to this space? What do you think is the most effective way of getting your message across to your attendees?
Yeah, I think the app is actually something that
right,
we're quite proud of this year. But I do think the app is something that's really interesting because we do allow exhibitors to set up appointments with attendees.
Well, that's great.
So, if you can, download the app and you can set up those appointments, it is something that I think really does help, have that really good experience in advance if possible. I think the other thing is making sure that you do have a really visible brand, right? I mean, you don't have to have a huge booth, just making sure that you have a good brand and good signage is something that goes a long way.
That's great. So what are you looking forward to the most this week?
The most, I would say I'm most excited about Smartdale and seeing
right,
that come to life. But second to that, I think, is our networking event. So our networking event is called It's Electric. So
right,
we've got a nice theme for that. So we're always excited about networking events and bringing folks together. So it's great to do that. So we're excited about that.
Excellent. Thanks so much for your time. I know, again, this is a really busy time for you. So we wish you all the best of luck this week.
Yes, thank you so much. And same to you. Thanks,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Yeah.
bustling downtown Smartville, and we've actually found the mayor of Smartville, Jerry Dempsey. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us a little bit, this is really impressive. I have to say, this really is a town with all sorts of different things going on. Tell us about what's the idea that brings us all together?
Great question. The idea for Smartville is really, what does it mean to be a smart city? What are the different elements that make a city connected to a utility, and as well as to citizens of a city to improve their life, to help the city themselves improve efficiencies and the ability to make it better for all their citizens in multiple different ways.
So now the visitors to Smartville, how are they able to see those things put into practice at the various stations?
So we have multiple stations that talk about things like transportation or public safety, like you see here, or smart buildings, or wastewater controls, things like that, with multiple different applications and sensors that help the city determine things that are going on within their city, and then how they might be able to make better informed decisions based on the data that's coming in.
That's great. So in your estimation, what's been the maximum population of Smartville since the show opened?
We've probably had a couple hundred people in
That's
this booth
great.
area, and at different times as the crowds come and go.
Right. Tell us about the truck.
The truck is a Ford F-150 Lightning that has obviously the tie to vehicle-to-grid connectivity,
Right.
With the chargers that are the charging management program that we have.
Right.
It will help with that resiliency play. Could be a fleet vehicle for cities as well, and different applications such as that.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for this private tour of Smartville. Thanks again,
Oh, you bet.
and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
VP of Trihedral. It's my first time at DistribuTech. It's Barry's first time at DistribuTech. And you've been going to a lot of the sessions today. So tell us about some of the sessions you sat in on.
So DistribuTech's kind of interesting. I thought it was mostly about distribution, but there's over 27 tracks here covering from EV cars to grid stabilization to modernization of the grid to stability. So some of the tracks I found interesting this morning were on SCADA versus some of the other options they're using right now in grid modernization. One I recently just came from was Duke Energy, talking about their future of EVs and how they see them integration. This head up one of their directors. Very interesting about what they think people's options or non-options may be when they have an electric car later on in the future. The technical sessions are very, very well attended. If you ever come, make sure you come in early and get in line early to get a seat. Presentations are well done, short, concise. And the booth floor is just amazing. I mean, in terms of everything you see here, from EV cars to chargers to obviously great software and a lot of great people very interested in making the grid modern and robust.
So we are now in the booth of cybersecurity company Fortinet, and we're fortunate enough to be joined today by OT engineer Jose Barreto.
Yes, sir.
And thanks for joining us.
To Mr. Chris.
And tell us a little bit about Fortinet.
Yes, Fortinet is a cybersecurity company. We're leading in the market for cybersecurity solution. We're over the market for 20 years. We provide solutions to protect the whole infrastructure of the company with different products that we have in our fabric. And also, we're here today at DistribuTech to talk about how we can protect the OT environment, the operational technology environment that we have today in the industry for SCADA systems, for automation systems in general.
Which is very relevant right now because we often hear in lots of verticals about the tension that can exist between IT and OT.
Yes.
So it's now there are there's a lot of focus these days about cybersecurity. What makes this solution different?
So, as I was saying, Fortinet as a lead on the market on cybersecurity products. In this case that we're using here today, DistribuTech is a conference for utilities. So today I'm showing how we can use our solution to protect the SCADA environment that we have at our substation levels, our process control centers. So an example that I have here, a well-known protocol that is used in the industry is called Modbus. Modbus TCP is a protocol that we use today in the industry. I have here very quickly An example that I have are a rugged device, a FortiGate device that is meant for high temperatures, meant for harsh environments. It's a rugged device at 60F. We do have a Fortinet FortiSwitch. And also, we do have a PLC here that we're using, a Schneider PLC that use Modbus for this case of scenario. With our OT or industrial package, we can protect these PLCs from cyber attacks in general using the IPS signature. So even for security vulnerabilities that are well known on the Modbus protocol, other OT protocols, we also protect it from changing parameters on the devices. So as our next generation firewall works, is that we have a protocol control process that works at the application level. So I can, after the device is put in production, after the device is working, there is no more reason to change the parameters in that device. So what I will do is I will block all of the write commands against that device. So the device is in production, I will create a firewall rule, very simple step to do. I just associate which protocols I'll be blocking, which functions specifically of that protocol I'll be blocking, to avoid that it will be writing information. And after that, I block. So nobody will be able, even with the credentials of the PLC, you will not be able to change parameters because the firewall is blocking at the application level.
It's interesting, normally when we hear about firewalls protecting SCADA systems, we're thinking about the server being the target, but not the PLC itself. So that's really interesting. And that's increasingly what's happening these days, is people are going to rewrite the code on the PLC itself. Yes. So now I also noticed that you're using VTScada software, which is an excellent choice in my opinion. So perhaps you could tell us, for our Spanish-speaking viewers today, why you chose VTScada in Spanish.
Yes, so in English also I can say that, but in Spanish, para mis compañeros que están escuchando esta presentación, una de las opciones que escogemos como Fortinet en nuestro laboratorio, en nuestros demos, en nuestros productos, demostración de producto, utilizar una solución con VTScada por la facilidad de la herramienta. El soporte es muy sensible, muy rápido, eficiente. Tenemos templates que están las plantillas que están disponibles para simplemente deploy. Ellos disponibilizan modelos, como por ejemplo estamos acá con un transformador, una cámara de enfriamiento y un temperature control box, esta caja que controla la temperatura. De esta forma, no tuvimos que desarrollar toda esta pantalla. VTScada nos dan ese template listo. Solamente tenemos que hacer link con nuestros puntos de control del Modbus que estamos utilizando. Y cuando yo tengo una interrupción que afecta mi PLC, yo tengo automáticamente cómo ver esta interrupción. Acá tengo luces verdes que podrían estar rojas si interrumpemos de alguna forma esta comunicación. Para nosotros fue una mejor opción que tuvimos para nuestros laboratorios.
Was it? Gracias.
It was a pleasure. Yeah,
thank you so much.
No problem. No problem.
Fortinet, look them up.
Yes, thank you so much, guys, for the opportunity.
Hey everybody, welcome to Questions with Nat. We're at DistribuTech and I'm with Bryan, and I've got a real good question. We have some integrators asking, they want to come to VTScada Fest, they want to bring their customers, and they want to know, what are some reasons to give their customers to get them at VTScada Fest?
Well, Nat, VTScada Fest is a great time, first of all, and it's a great chance to bring your customers down, to meet our programmers, to meet the sales team, to meet our tech support team, and to learn a lot more about new features, and a great chance to network with other customers and with other integrators and consultants.
Yep, and not only that, we're going to a new venue this year. Yep. It's Universal, and we're also going to Hard Rock, and we have access to the John Lennon Room, so if that's not enough to get you there, also theme parks are super fun.
Absolutely, can't wait.
Can't wait. See you in March in Orlando, VTScada Fest.
Absolutely.
All right, and now we are in the booth of WEYTEC here at DistribuTech, and we're talking to Robin Littau. Tell us about what you do and what your company does.
Thanks, Chris. WEYTEC, we are a Swiss company. We are a pioneer in KVM, so keyboard video mouse technology. Essentially what we do, we design, develop, and manufacture hardware that can be used in a control room, for example, in the utilities vertical.
Right.
And we use this solution to create a single pane of glass for an operator. What that means is you can take, for example, VTScada,
right,
and using our hardware technology, we can integrate VTScada with other systems, and then you have a single layout of the different systems and subsystems that an operator would typically monitor and or control.
Right, because I see that you've got all these different systems going and only one keyboard and one mouse.
Indeed. We are screen agnostic. At the same time, we can also use our technology for a video wall.
Right.
Again, we're video wall agnostic. And what the operator can do with our technology, they can create presets. So they can determine the layout of the different content that they're monitoring.
Interesting. So when a user comes in and opens up one of these presets, are they able to log into their specific user account on all these different things?
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah. And so let's say if it's now my shift, so I basically log in and then my presets or my layout comes up. At the same time, I can move around some of the layouts. For example, here.
Interesting.
Right? I can create a single screen as well, using just a single content. Again, I can have something like this. So each of these boxes essentially would signify a different system.
I see.
That you're monitoring. If an alert is triggered, then let's say on this particular system, then your focus would just be on that particular system alone. And that would happen automatically.
I
so
see.
you wouldn't even have to shift over.
What is the overarching thing that this is trying to solve? Is situational awareness.
And they're more productive, they're more efficient. Sustainment cost as well comes down. There are numerous unique selling points, numerous advantages with this type of technology. We've been doing it 40 years, so mature.
Who are the prime customers at this show for this kind of technology?
The utilities,
right?
Most definitely, right, for their control rooms.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
excellent. And I also see that this is a sit-to-stand desk.
Indeed, yeah. Evans, so Canadian company.
Oh, very good.
They are the global leader in state-of-the-art consoles, also design of the overall control room.
Excellent. And if people want to learn more about this, what's the best way to do that?
Our website, WEYTEC.com, also evansconsoles.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Robin, for your time. This is an excellent solution.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we're back with somebody who hasn't been on the show for a while, Tim Donaldson, and I've got a question. So they have asked, they're interested in getting VTScada, but they don't want to start from scratch. So they want to know, how do I get VTScada and not start from scratch?
Oh, great question. So we have a few different tools. The first one is, let's talk about your historical data. So all your historical data, if you can get that into a CSV file from your existing SCADA system, which is all the common SCADA systems have that ability, then we can take that and import that data directly into VTScada, our tag database, and it makes it look like VTScada collected that data all along. So you're not going to lose any of that historical data. We also have another way that if you send us your tag database, we can take that tag database and convert it to a VTScada change set file, which is an application, and we can also give you back the Excel file for it too, but in case you want to do anything else with it. But you have that ability just to take that application and start fresh from it.
Amazing. Thanks, Tim. And we'll see you next time with Questions with Nat.
I was working with a customer who had an HMI system which communicates to an Allen Bradley PLC. The PLC is responsible for alarming off-normal conditions that occur in the process. A digital register is used to indicate an alarm condition, which is read by VTScada, and an alarm is raised to alert the operator. The customer posed the question, if the digital status is held high for 500 milliseconds, will that be long enough for the HMI to see it? And that's a great question, but to fully appreciate the answer, we need to delve a little bit deeper. The communication between VTScada and the PLC was over Ethernet using SIP. As is typical with these devices, the HMI polls the PLC for data at regular scheduled intervals. Now, VTScada has a number of advanced features which allows us to maximize the rate at which we can retrieve data from the PLC, including opening multiple IP connections to the PLC simultaneously. Nyquist's theorem is a fundamental principle in communication engineering that states that to correctly reproduce a signal, the sampling rate must be at least twice the highest frequency of the signal. This theorem is named after Harry Nyquist, who published it in 1928. So in this example, we'd have to pull the PLC every 250 milliseconds to ensure that we capture any activation of the alarm. This would work, but it's not deterministic. That is, we cannot guarantee 100% that we see the alarm. If several writes to the PLC occur at the same point, this could slow the polling rate to the point where we miss an alarm transition. Additionally, what happens if the process occurs as part of a rapidly changing process and there are multiple activations that occur within that 500 millisecond window? It's fair to say that the HMI would register the alarm, but would not have an accurate count of the number of activations of that alarm, where this might be an important metric. My usual response to this is to use a different protocol, which instead of polling, reports by exception. The PLC makes contact with the HMI and reports the change in data. Good examples of these protocols are the DMP3 and the IEC 68870-5-104. When an alarm occurs in the PLC, the event is sent to the master HMI on change. And this is usually accompanied by a timestamp, which allows the sequence of events to be ordered. These protocols are common in the power industry, where the sequence of events and knowing every transition of a point is required. Devices supporting these protocols usually have a local log of events, which is uploaded to the HMI, providing an accurate, ordered, and time-stamped sequence of events down to the millisecond in the order that they have occurred. Consider an electrical distribution network which gets struck by lightning. There are a large number of events as relays and reclosers trip. It's critical to know each event and the order in which they occur. When using a report by exception protocol, each RTU will contact the SCADA system and upload the current value of any of the points which have changed in its value. It will then proceed to upload a log of historical changes with the timestamps. In this way, the SCADA system can backfill the historian and provide a complete and coherent view of real-time and recent events which have occurred in the system. To summarize, if you must absolutely see every change of state in your I/O, then you should select a device which supports historical data logging and a report by exception protocol.
Everybody for joining us for this very special edition of the Automation Village, brought to you from DistribuTech in San Diego. Now we got to enjoy some time, and Dave and I went to the zoo. It was fun.
Polar bears, tigers, giraffes for cool.
Yes. So I want to say thank you, of course, to Chris and Dave, my lovely co-hosts. I want to say thank you to everybody from VTScada that came down and made this booth so successful this week. Everybody who joined us in the booth at DistribuTech. But I especially want to say thank you to Stephanie from DistribuTech, Jerry from OATI, Jose from Fortinet, and Robin from WEYTEC.
Right, and also VTScada's Natasha.
Yes!
So be sure to join us next month, where we're going to change the format up a little bit. We're also going to be doing our VTScada Fest next month. So that'll be in Orlando, Florida. We've got all kinds of great sessions for VTScada users and anybody really interested in SCADA in general.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. And as you can hear, we're closing down the show here at DistribuTech, and we're closing out this month's Automation Village. Thanks for joining us.
Goodbye.